Once it starts, okay, so we're being recorded. So here we go. And it is Friday. Oh, I'm so glad. It's been a crazy week. I can't tell you how many teachers I've taught this week. It's been nutty. And worked with the districts in Texas I've been working with. So it's been super busy, but super good. It's been awesome. You know, it was a fun week. It just took a lot of times because everybody wants something unique. And so I'm customizing and up late getting everything ready. But this weekend, I don't think I have a single thing. So yay for that. I have to do a little paperwork, but other than paperwork, I'm not having to be planning and presenting. So I'm going to take some me time. Maybe I'll catch up on a video or two. But glad you're here. This is about jumpstarting students for the new normal at home or at school. And we're going to talk about that. We're all in different places. And so I'm not, there's Philadelphia now too, I see has joined us. And I'm sure more will jump in, but this is such an important topic. We don't know where we're going to all end up. And here we are close. Some of the schools start in Memphis. I'm in Memphis, start this week. And so it's more the private schools that are starting. The public have given them the choice of whether they're virtual or in person, but every place is different. And so whether you're getting ready to start now or in the future, or even if you're in another country or something, you've been in the middle of it and now you're kind of rebooting, there's some good tips in here. And so I have my presentation, but I'm super lucky that we have the presentation from one of the Microsoft people. I have two as well that are about preparing your students and preparing teachers or getting ready. And so at the end, I'm going to briefly show you those. You will have the slides from all three decks, so you will not have to worry about taking a lot of notes unless it's something that you want to write down that's not on the slide. I try not to be text heavy, but I also try to put it there. So if you go back to the slide PDFs, you'll be able to see what we talked about and remember. So I'm Julene. A lot of you know me already. Julene Reed from Memphis, and I've been in education over 25 years from all grades from elementary all the way through teaching graduate students now at the master's level, getting principal certifications. Super excited you're here for the Global Ed Tech Academy. We still have a couple more weeks of this left, or maybe 3 weeks left, I think. So still going to keep going on until the end of August, and then they may kind of stop for a while and they may start again. I'm not sure. We haven't heard, but we've all had a really good time and been super excited to have such a reach with everyone and to help. And it's always wonderful to hear from you afterwards. I know I have a couple certificates. I owe a couple people, so if you're one, I'm on it. But I think all the slides are up to date except for today's. I have not uploaded today's slides, but I will this evening. So they won't be there the minute you finish, but they will be there. And so I am excited to talk to you about getting started with the new normal. And it's actually the new abnormal. And so here we are at the new abnormal, and who knows what we're going to be doing. So hopefully you are seeing my screen. If not, be sure to let me know in the chat or open your mic and tell me, because the other day my network blipped for a minute and they didn't see my screen when that happened. So I want to make sure you're seeing it. But this is our new abnormal or our new normal. And it's all still about learning in our students. And what are we going to do? What's going to happen? How are we going to make sure we're engaged with them? It's really tough. I've seen a teacher cry recently. She just couldn't handle it anymore. And it was really sad. It hurt me for her, because some are so excited about the way we're doing things and the way we're introducing technology, and that you have all realms that some are just still threatened by it and aren't quite there yet. And so we're working hard to get everybody feeling comfortable. And we want you to feel comfortable, and especially to be easy on yourself. Take it easy on yourself, relax. It's all going to work out. You can't be perfect. It's going to be fine, because it's all about learning, and you're an expert. You know what you're teaching, you know your content. And now we just want to help you with your students as we get into this new realm. And so we're going to look at the big picture of everything that's happening for a little bit, and then we're going to come back to different pieces of it. And so this is kind of the big picture. I'm seeing, because I work with so many districts and schools around the nation right now, because I'm obviously not traveling and I haven't done as much global work as I usually do. But with what we're seeing, there are 100 different models going on, and teachers are feeling stressed. Chromebooks have been on back order for some schools, and now they're going to tablets, and they're getting nervous, and just all kinds of things are happening everywhere. So we don't know. Some districts and schools are going face to face, and then the NEA, the different chapters of that, or the teachers are suing them, and they're worried about teacher safety and student safety. It's a very uncomfortable spot for people because they love to teach, and yet I saw a teacher on the news the other day saying, I wasn't ready to retire yet, but I am. She says, I love my kids, but I'm not ready to give up my life for them. But I think our districts and schools are really working hard if we are in school to really take care of us and take care of our kids. And that should always be the priority. Number one, take care of yourself and your kids. Number two, let's get them taught and make it fun and make it exciting. It can be a really exciting time for us. We can do all this blended learning, whether we're face-to-face or at home, with all these new tools. We don't have to use them all, but we're going to start small and simple and basic, and then we find a way that we can integrate a tool that's going to help make our learning more active, we will. So we may be face-to-face, and I'm seeing different things with some face-to-face, some blended virtually. Sometimes I was talking with a school in California this week, and they're expected to be at home, distant learning, doing the remote connection, but connected to their students solidly from 9 to 2, never to disconnect or do independent learning. Then I've seen some where they're online Monday, Wednesday, Friday, virtually, synchronously, and Tuesday, Thursday's independent work. And then I've seen some where you have an A-B schedule. Half the kids come to school today, the other half come tomorrow. We keep rotating that, but everybody's still connected during the day. It's all over the place. Everybody's doing the best they can with their situation, the culture in which they live, the students that they're teaching. And so it's completely different. One school has the regular classrooms for the students that are face-to-face, and then they have a virtual teacher that they have someone who does just virtual classes. So they're not really mixed. So never know what everybody's going to do. So we're all doing either face-to-face, blended of some kind, lots of varieties, or all distance and remote. And it's a crazy time, but and it may change tomorrow, or it may change in 5 minutes. We never know. But with all this that we're doing, we'll be ready. We're going to be ready. So what I want you to do now is, let me just show you, and I know you guys have seen this, some of you 100 times. So I'm going to stop the sharing there, and I want to share my entire desktop for a minute. And I'm going to bring my Meet up, because you're going to want to do this, and this is a good practice for you to do with your kids. I'm going to show you a couple of things like I always do, mainly because I've had it happen before where a teacher didn't get to see the whole screen, and she spent the whole time watching just the postage stamp size of what I was doing. So when you're in Meet, if you don't have, in Teams Meet, if you don't have 2 monitors, what you can do is drag your window over and resize it. And there are some shortcuts on some computers. And then open a browser window. This is just a browser window. And I'm just opening it and I'm resizing it so it's on the other side. And if you don't have a way for it to snap, just grab the side of it and pull it over. And then now you can be in the Meet and watching at the same time. The other thing you can do is when you're here in team meetings, and let me close that. We don't need that. We're in here, we can go and we can change the way we're looking at things. So we can go to the gallery, we can go to the together mode, but we're just going to stay in the gallery. We're going to have a large gallery later. But we can also hover over the different people and see these dots. And we can pin, like I'm going to pin Jessica. So Jessica's screen would now be whatever she were showing. If she were screen sharing, would be the biggest thing I see. And then I can go back down here and I can unpin her. I would suggest doing that. I would suggest getting yours half and half, where you can see my screen where I'm sharing, and then pulling up a browser window. And that's what you're going to want to do right now. And then where you are going to go in your browser window is right here. And let me get this up for you again so you can see it. So this is Jumpstarting Students, and I'm going to also put it in the chat, but I want you to go here, and I want you to read the prompt. So this is Padlet. If you haven't used Padlet, it's really a cool tool. And oops, that's the wrong keyboard. I do that all the time, you know, hit the wrong keyboard here. Too many keyboards. There we go. It's free with limits, but I can tell you how to kind of get around that in just a minute. But what I'm going to do now is put the link here in case you're having trouble typing it. It should take you right to it. I can't talk and type very well, so I want to make sure I get this right for you. All right. No, I didn't get it right. See, I need to not talk. Just a minute. bit.ly/students. Remote. It's coming. Hold on. You can go on if you can get there with just what's on the screen. There we go. I hope that does it. Let's see if you can get there. Let's see if you get there. All right, so I'm going to move this out. It looks like we might there. If you're not there, let me know. And this is where I want you to go. So make sure the link is working and that you're there, and the link is in the chat. And what you'll do is you're going to go down to this plus, and you're going to answer my prompt. My prompt is, and if I can make it big enough, you might be able to see it better. You'll see it on your screen, but it's not going to get bigger here. No. Why are you doing that? No, go away. Delete. It thinks someone do a post, so we're not going to do that. So it's listening to me, I think. Oh, someone's typing there. I'm sorry. Someone's already typing, and I'm going in there deleting it because I thought it was me. But go ahead and just click the plus again. You can do it again. What is your biggest concern with getting students ready to learn with distance education? So if I accidentally deleted you, just go do it again. Hit the plus and go on and add it. Add your prompt. There you go. Thank you. Making it. And the district, I've told you, I think some of you have heard me working the 5 districts in 5 cities in Texas. They're so ready just to do it. They've been preparing so long that the anticipation is so much worse than any of the reality will be. And no, that's probably true for you too. Everything you're thinking, everything you're worried about, once you get to doing it, you'll be great. You know, practice ahead of time. That's one thing I didn't put on here. I need to add that. But practice your connections ahead of time. Practice everything you're doing ahead of time before that first connection with the kids. Have the kids practice. Have them practice with teams and teams meeting and make sure they can get in. So I'm going to look at these. Make it easy for students and parents to access and understand and do it seamless. Make sure I can teach the content through the tools, not spend all of my life teaching tools. I love that. And start simple. Do what you know. Do what you know. Let's do, and I have this in here. Prioritize those tools. Don't go putting a lot of special things in there. Start really basic. Do what you know, and then as you get comfortable with just even letting the kids connect and see you, now you can start thinking about how you're going to build in more integration. Getting to know students and making sure they aren't overwhelmed, hugely important for us and for them. We know what it feels like. And keeping students engaged and invested in their learning. Consistency is huge. Consistency, especially in how you assign things, where they go to find it. If you have an LMS or you're using Teams and class notebook and assignments, whatever you're doing, consistency so they know where to go. And once they get that routine, then you can build in other things. And you can have variety in how they learn things, and you can have variety in how they demonstrate understanding. But at the beginning, you really want to be consistent. Students' emotional stability and engagement with students. Yes, absolutely. You want them to be engaged and you want them to feel emotionally okay. Because if they're not emotionally okay and you're not emotionally okay, everybody's going to be stressed and they're not going to learn. And that's been the thing that we've seen the most through this whole pandemic is students are so uncomfortable with, and they don't express their emotional feelings very well. but they've suffered too. I mean, we've suffered, they've suffered. I think the teacher who cried this week, it wasn't about what was happening just that moment. It was everything in her life. Just everything all of a sudden was overwhelming her. It was like that one more thing and she just couldn't do it. Making sure they're feeling part of a class community and feel connected. I love that. And so I talked about that. There are a couple other sessions that I've recorded that you might want to look at. And that's lesson design for distance learning and then active learning with distance learning. And in the lesson design, I talk about how important it is for them to work in groups and work with buddies and maintain those partnerships, because that collaborative work is going to help with those relationships. And we can't assess like we used to. So we have to think of formative assessment in alternate ways, and having them collaborate on projects is a great way to do that. And let's see if I've missed one. Keeping them engaged, I did that. Getting enough students, I think we did all those. So I don't know that I missed one. Good, awesome. Great job. I love this tool. And this is a great tool for you to use just to check in. You know, check with your students, see how they're doing, whatever. You can just, it's an easy tool, and I'm going to show you quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on how to make a Padlet, because that's something you can learn on your own too and experiment with. But you make an account, you can just sign in with your Microsoft account. And when you go to make a Padlet, you'll just go here. Now, I'm going to show you a tip, because after so many, it's going to try to get you to pay. Like, watch this. You need to pay. Well, guess what? If I go back and I pick one that I had from before, I'm just going to go and I'm going to click on it. Oops, that's one that's shared with me. I can't do that one. Let me get rid of that one. My bad. So where I have 3 dots, if I go to the one, this one's 18 days old. I'll show you what it looks like. This is a lot of people posting about assessment, and you can put in images. So what I didn't show you that I need to show you is how you can make these media rich. So, but what I can do if I want to is I can go back here and I can click on that one and I can archive it. And now I can make a new one. So let me show you one other thing here while we're here. If you go to that plus again and I'm clicking here, I can write text, I can upload files, I can do a link. I can do a web search here and put something on the web from Google. I can get an image, take a picture right now. I have these 3 dots and I can do all these things. So if you want to add an image real quick, go add an image. Just go to Google and find an image that shows me how you feel. So you'll just go back to yours and click on those 3 dots. And I'm just going to put Julene. Here, I'm just going to leave it. But I think if I go back to my 3 dots now, I can edit my post, and I could go to the globe and I can look for a picture. I didn't really want to look for me. I don't know who those girls are. Excited. I'm going to just find something that makes me feel like how I feel about starting the new year. It could be a GIF. It could be, we'll grab this one. I want to put that one in mine. So you can put a GIF, you can upload files, you could put an image, whatever you wanted to make your media rich. So I just wanted to show you that was your one active learning activity for today. I just wanted you to not feel like you had to sit the whole time. But I do love Padlet, and so I'm going to take you back. If you want to add an image, you can. But to make a new one, I just click Make a Padlet, make a Padlet. I have all these options. I tend to just do a wall. I'm just kind of traditional, do a wall. And then I can just go here, give it a title, give it a description. That's my prompt. I can make it as private as I want. I can change the wallpaper or the design to be anything I want it to be. We'll go to space for a minute and then come back. And I can even add my own pictures and use this arrow and come back again. And so you have fonts and color schemes and wallpaper, and you just follow the next, and then I'm done. But what you have to do is you need to go to share. And at share, now you get the link, but you can also get a QR code, and you can also change the privacy. So you'll definitely want to look at your privacy, and you'll want to make sure your permissions are set correctly. So that's Padlet. I just want you to see that quickly, and it's free. Oh, good. My mood swings. I love that is a mood swing for sure. That's pretty funny. It reminds me of those balls that go back and forth. I'm making myself dizzy with the girl that's doing her little dance. So I'm going to go and turn that off for now. I'm just going to get rid of that. That was your one quick activity, and we're going to go back to our presentation. And I'm just going to keep you, I don't know that I need to stay full screen, actually. I think I'm just going to, I'll leave it full screen. There's no reason not to. So we did our one activity, and then we're going to talk about how do we jumpstart our kids. Well, planning. You've probably already been planning. Your district is probably planning, or your school's planning, or getting ready to. So we need to do lots of planning. And, ready, set, go, or are we ready, set, go? And you know what they say about the best laid plans, but just keep calm, be as prepared as you can. But this is what you need to know. What is the plan? What are we doing? Keep up to date. Are we remote, face-to-face, or blended? What does that mean specifically? And get that information so you know. And have a real clear understanding from your district, your school, what your organization, whatever that is, what technology do we have to use? What will be the processes? What will be the expectations for me? So that you're really clear on that. And hopefully they're giving you really clear instructions for that. And then if I need support, who do I call, how, and when? What if I'm trying to get online and I can't, my kids are ready, who do I call? How can I get support? Where do I go? So have that ready. Also ask those questions in advance so you're not like panic at the last minute that something's not working correctly. And then think about those parents. You're going to have to also think about how you can provide support to them, because this is a time that they need your support too, and they need that communication as much. And as much as I've worked with these Texas districts for a long 2 months now, probably, we had a breakdown this week, and the breakdown was all communication. Someone was upset, and it's because nobody communicated something. So we have to keep that communication going. And that's from high leadership down and us back up to leadership at all levels. And then us out to the parents and the students. So communication is huge. And then be thinking, are we going to be synchronous or asynchronous? And as you design your lessons, this is about jumpstarting students, but it involves you too. So as you design these lessons, what are you going to be teaching? And when will you teach it? When you teach it, or are you going to teach it in a way that you're all together at the same time, synchronously? Or are these things going to be activities they can do asynchronously? So as you're getting ready, if you're an educator, now these are all hyperlinks. So when you get those PDF files and you look at them, they're all hyperlinks that will send you off to all these websites. So I have a ton of resources here today. And I'm going to talk through a lot of them, but I'm going to show you a lot of resources. And when you get those files, you can explore those on your own time, the ones that look of interest to you. And then I have those 2 other slide decks going to go briefly through just to show you what they are. And you can take the slides from those if you want to. I asked the Microsoft person if I could share them, and she was completely fine with that. So I just want you to know that they weren't snuck to you on the slide. You can always have my PDF to use how you want, but you have hers as well. So they have lots of support on Microsoft sites in different places. And it's like somebody needs to organize these because they're organized in ways, but yet the ones I think are the best are kind of in different places to support you. So there's one here, this one that if you're an educator, and it goes on with more information than these, talking about your lesson plans, talking about getting set up, different things there. And I have more coming for you. And then thinking about if you are at home and the kids are at home and you're teaching and learning, what kinds of things should you do then? Well, the home environment considerations and concerns. And I've talked about some of my other sessions about you never really know what their home environment is. They may be embarrassed to have their camera open. There may be brothers and sisters running around. It may be a home that have many people living in it, a poor economic area. So you have to think about what's going in their homes. I've heard that some of the kids go to the bathrooms. I said, don't shut the toilet because it's the only quiet place, or a closet, or a teacher had a day where they had some of the kids wouldn't come because they were embarrassed. So they had tent day and they put a blanket over a chair and everybody showed up. But think about those home environments and concerns. So don't press if you know there's a problem. Don't press too much for that camera to be open. However, there are lots of virtual backgrounds coming out. Yay, Google. There's an extension for them now, but they're really coming in now. They're going to be showing up in your tenant. Yay, Microsoft. I don't know why I said Google. Microsoft already has a lot of backgrounds in there. So in your in your meeting, when you're in the meeting, if they're embarrassed, it's so cool because Microsoft was one of the first ones to come through with these. And I love it. They're putting even more in all the time. So when I'm here, if I go to my three, if you haven't done this, and I go to my three dots, and it's probably bigger for you, but when you're here, you can go down to apply background effects. And you have all kinds of cool ones and even more coming in. I just tend to use the blur because it gets a little pixelated in my head sometimes, but there's all kinds of effects. But you'll want to tell them, once you pick one effect, don't keep changing it. And if there's distracting, that's part of the norm. So you'll want to set that up. But that's really hugely helpful for those kids that are concerned about their home life and where they are and don't want people to see where they are. And that's good for you. It's just kind of nice, keep it simple. They don't need to see everything about me and where I live and all of that. So it's good for you as well. And then think about best practices for remote connections and how you're going to stay organized and what are those remote learning tips and tricks you can do. And so I've given you some of those, but some of this is just be organized. Get everything ready and have it ready to go and be organized. Get up, plan to be online 15 minutes early, 10 minutes early, so you're not rushing at the last minute. The kids are going, where are you? So make sure that you're doing things to get there early. So when you're thinking about that home space, where are you going to be? Against a wall, so there aren't distractions like people going back and forth and dogs and cats running around. A quiet place so the kids aren't yelling and screaming. And this is important, a room that has good bandwidth. You may have pretty good bandwidth in your house, but if you go off to a room at the end of the house, and this is the same for your students. When I'm saying you, think about these same exact things for the students. Where will they be? A quiet place, and don't be in a room that doesn't have good bandwidth. My granddaughter did that, and she was in her cute little bedroom with her cute little desk, but everything pixelated all the time. So she came out to the kitchen table and it was fine. And then give them really specific, organized, and detailed, and yes, that consistent that was mentioned before, information about assignments, policies, norms, etc. And start early, start at the beginning with that. That's really important that you set the stage for what this is going to be. And so on those first couple of days or so, you may be doing no curriculum. That's okay. It'll benefit you in the end. So those first couple of days online, have those conversations. What's going on? Let's do a couple activities as icebreakers, and I have some ideas for you. And let's not worry about the curriculum today. Let's give it a few days. They're giving it about 20 hours. That would be to attend 5 half days in Texas for them just to get familiar with some of the tools and get logged in and do the remote and all these things before they have to worry about really teaching the curriculum. So be easy on yourself. Don't think you have to go right in and teach. Go in and teach them how to do well in this environment, and then build in the curriculum where you can. You can add some, but don't think you have to be a superstar those first few days. It's like that first day of even elementary school when you still have to show them where the bathroom is, how to line up for lunch, all of that. We have to do all that. So everything's changing. Another thing for home, think about remote connections. Think about having a headphone or microphones. Think about having a second monitor. They're about $100 or more. I mean, just a little over now for a really good high-def monitor. They've gotten really cheap, and that really will help you. And then if you're having low bandwidth issues, if the kids are, tell them to mute the video. I think it's good to see each, especially at the beginning of your session, and do those relationships. But maybe have all the kids mute the video while you're working and teaching, and then have them open it back up at key points. And then if they need to talk or want to ask a question, they could open it then. Same with your mic. Mute the mic unless you're talking. And then at the end, celebrate again and have them all be there. But, it's a good idea. Maybe it's too distracting seeing all the kids moving around. So let's just unmute our video while I talk, and then we'll bring it right back in a minute. And then set your norms about, like I said, when to mute mics, videos, stay on task. Don't be doing 4 things at once. No silliness in the chat. We're going to be on topic here. And then some tips and tricks for teams. Show students how to change video meeting layouts, like we were looking at the gallery view and the other views like that. Show them how to pin the presentation to keep it large. Show them how to resize the windows like I just did with you. So think about all those things at the beginning. Kind of just show them the ecosystem of teams need. And then they'll be ready to go, and be ready early. Be on time and stay organized, and tell the kids that I need you here on time. Don't come in 10 minutes later, come here on time. So be ready early, sign in and be on time, and stay organized. And then some other things for the kids, and these are student tips. Have them keep a calendar. Hopefully their calendar will pop up, and they can use a digital one with the calendar that's in Microsoft Teams. They can use that calendar. They could use that digital planner or have a regular one, whatever is better for them, but keep a calendar of all the meetings, all the assignments, and be organized with that. And for you and for them, after about 45 minutes at the most at your desk working like this, and for them working on assignments, get up and walk around. Walk outside for 4 or 5 minutes and come back. Don't have them just sit the whole time. And for younger ones, that may be too long. When you have a good break in what you're doing, let's get up and move around for a minute. So think about ways to keep moving so we're not just sitting and getting all day. And then if they struggle with their assignments, what will you do? Have that process set for how you're going to communicate. They're going to communicate with you. If you're having trouble, I can't see you if you raise your hand. So what will they do? What will their process be? They also need to know exactly what to do if their tech device isn't working. Who do they call? Is there a tech person at school they can contact? And then complete their work early if they can, because it always takes longer than you think, and then suddenly we're here. So that's a joke sometimes, I know, but if they can get their work done early, it's really helpful. And then if nobody's available and they're still having trouble, they don't understand, have them it might be a good idea, have them set up student PLCs, like a cadre PLC or a cohort PLC or something, and they can always do that ask 3 before me. And then reach out to me. But if they need some help, let them count on each other and talk to each other. And if you're not available, that's who they can go to if they need to. They just need to know what to do when something's not working or when they need help. If you are on campus, even with part of them, some or all, you have to think about time for all those new policies and safety. There's so many things, and make sure you're allowing plenty of time for everything you have planned, because it's going to take longer. And be thinking about, okay, do we have masks? Are we having, personal protective equipment? Do we have plexiglass dividers? Do we have sanitizer stations? How are we going to line up to go places? Who's coming in off what doors? Are all the students staying in their own class the whole time? All those types of things that everybody's making decisions on. And I'm sure that your leadership is doing that for you. And so if there are concerns like that, I would definitely share them. Let them know what you're concerned about. Lunches are in classrooms. How are we going to do this? And for those little ones, those itty bitties, how will we keep their masks on? They're kindergarten, first grade. How are we going to keep their masks on? And so thinking about ways to do that. And they're even coming out with mask songs and videos and all kinds of things to support that. But know that at any minute it can change. Any second it can change. So you just have to be flexible. If you prepared a lesson, it's going to work whether you're at school or whether it's your distance. If you prepared it using some technology and you know it, but be easy with yourself in the beginning and be flexible and prepared, knowing that at any time, even if you're face to face, it may shut down again. And I think you've had enough experience in the last few months to kind of know what has worked and what hasn't. And you probably, I hope you have a PLC of your own. You need to have your own support group. Your relationships with your peers are as important, if not more, than the students. So you need to be bonding and collaborating and having meetings with your peers. And you can set up office hours for kids where they just drop in. They drop in, I'll be online from 3 to 4 on Wednesday and Friday, drop in, and I'll see if I can help you. You could do that for parents if you wanted. Now, how do you really prepare them for the learning? I mean, that's the other thing. So start with the basics. You were talking before we started today about, I feel overwhelmed. There's so much I need to teach, and you can't teach it all. You can't teach it the same way. So prioritize. What are the most important goals? What is the essential understanding? Backtrack it, and let's prioritize what we're going to start with and then add to it as we go. Don't get lost in the tech tools. Don't get lost in the gadgets. Stay focused on what you know and stay focused on your curriculum. And then when you see ways to actively engage your kids and that works with what you're teaching and your purpose and your learning objectives, that's when you do that. And you'll do it. Just it's going to take a little bit of time to get rolling. And you'll need to build in some of that digital citizenship. That's not in this show, this presentation, but absolutely be building in that digital citizenship the whole time that you're working with them and teaching them technology, and you're setting those norms. It's a perfect time to build in that digital citizenship. So what do they need to know? You need to have your checklist. Do they know how to log in? Do they know how to log into the network? Do they know how to log into their Wi-Fi at home or their hotspot? Do they know how to log into Microsoft Teams? Do they know how to log in to any other LMS you might be using? Do they know their logins, or how can they find them if they can't know how to log in? Who do they contact? That's huge. Do they know how that device works? Whether it's a tablet, whether it's a computer, whatever it is, do they know how to work it, the basics? How do I connect it to the Wi-Fi? Where do I go on this computer? Where does the power plug in? So some of these kids, it could be the first time they've had them. So making sure they know those basics. And there are lots of different models of schools getting ready for that. And kids will learn it faster than we do. Kids learn fast, and they've been using technology and, iPads and phones and all kinds of laptops and things since they were born, most of them. So they'll get it fast. They can probably help teach you sometimes, and that's okay if they know more. Celebrate it. That's awesome. And then do they know how to get into Teams? Do they know how to get into Class Notebook? Do they know what their assignments are, their email, their Teams meetings? You know what? Basic. One thing at a time. Let's just get them online. Let's have a crazy hat day, get them excited about coming. Let's just get them online and show them how meetings work. And then let's have an icebreaker activity. And that may be it. You're done. So don't go overboard with that. Be thinking about what's important. But give them those clear and concise expectations and policies and make sure they understand them. And again, where do they go for help? So this is a good resource too. So the ones I put in here, I looked through them, and this has some it has a get started on the left here, but it also has tips for successful online learning, time management, communication, all those things. So you could look through those if you're interested in finding some tips for online learning, but there's a lot more resources coming. And then finally, this is what we're all waiting for. The anticipation's killing us. Now we really want to get started. So let's do this. Yes, we can do it. Think about that social emotional. One of you have already mentioned that on the Padlet is remember that social emotional consideration and the relationships. That's really important that you're working with that and providing opportunities for them to work with a partner, to work in group projects. Not everything's going to be high tech. Some things may be no tech. They're building the Great Wall of China, and how are they going to build it with sugar cubes or Legos or what? Or some things may be partly tech. They're designing, maybe doing a book cover and taking a picture of it and submitting it. And some things may be high tech. So it doesn't all have to be tech. You can still do some hands-on, basic, no tech too. And that's good. It mixes it up. And then think about how to jumpstart those lessons and get those relationships going. Movie night. What's your favorite movie right now that you're watching, or joke day, or crazy hat day, or favorite sports day, or whatever. Get not every day, but Fun Friday or something. So think about that. Go slow and easy with your curriculum and your lessons. It will come. And I keep saying be easy on yourself and be easy on them at first. Set the norms and be rigid with how we're doing things and being, doing it the right way. Just like you are that first day of class, you have to set the norms and then you can lighten up. But be easy on yourself. And it's okay to fail. I failed once this week. I don't want to do it again because I know what to do better. And so it's like, okay, that didn't go as well as I thought it would go. But I know how to improve it. So have that growth mindset and that positive outlook and know that the next time you'll do it better. And you'll find ways to do it. And when something goes wrong or it's not like you like, talk to your friends, talk to your peers, your co-teachers. I've tried to do this. I'm struggling. Can you give me some advice? How are you doing it? And just see what they say. So this one I like. I gave these to you here as well. There's other links later, but this is 50 back to school activities for remote learning. These are all linked. So you might want to look at those. Ditch That Textbook is good. You don't have to pay for any of this. It's all free. So if you're looking for ideas for jump starting with icebreakers and things, that's good. Here's another one that's 50 ways to virtually welcome kids back to school. So this has some really good ones in here. 8 fun activities for virtual learning. These weren't necessarily about back to school, but it has some good ones here. So, and some may be for younger kids, some may be for older. So you have to think about your topics, your grade levels, your ages, and find the ones that are best for you, or find the ones that are going to be easily adaptable for your students to how you want it. So my favorite tools, when you do get ready to use the tool, and you know you have the quiz right there and conversations, and I mean you have a quick quiz that you can do an assignment. That's really awesome. And it just is a quick one, gives you an instant graph. And you can do the bigger survey quizzes, the Google Form, I mean the Microsoft Forms. I keep using the wrong word today. The Microsoft Forms as well. So Flipgrid. I love Flipgrid. And if you haven't done Flipgrid, Microsoft bought Flipgrid about a year ago now. And they made a huge announcement this week. And if you're a Flipgrid user and haven't seen the announcements, it's really cool. Now you can split your screen in Flipgrid, whatever amount you want. So you could have you on one side and something you're annotating and drawing, like a math problem you're working on the other side, and recording it while you're doing it. It's super awesome. And then they have the frame around it. You can get these cool little frames, even a unicorn one that would go around your video. There are a lot of other things they've done. The screen recording now is 1,000 times better. You can do screen recording now. It was beta before. They've now released it, and the screen recording in Flipgrid is really, really good. So look at that too. And Flipgrid is free. Has immersive reader built in so that if you have a lot of students who are second language learners, they can translate right on the fly there. And so if you haven't done Flipgrid, I've done some sessions on that. I have another one coming up because we usually just do 2 on a topic, but they'll be on the YouTube videos that are archived. Yes, and Flipgrid has amazing resources by itself. And if you just go to YouTube and look at Flipgrid, you can look at those, some videos. The tutorials on Flipgrid are good, I said. And then other people in the Global Education Conference have also, Technology Conference have also done a Flipgrid session. So it doesn't have to be mine, but you can learn it, and it takes a bit, but it's not hard, and it drives their interest and their engagement and their motivation because it involves video and audio and all kinds of things. So it's super good tool to think about for the social emotional. Let them all record a quick video about how they're feeling about starting school. Those can be public to each other, or you can keep them private till you decide to release them, if you do. Other tools I love, Edpuzzle. If you don't know Edpuzzle, it'll put interactive questions. It's really easy to do. Interactive questions in a video. So if you used a video from YouTube or Khan Academy or National Geographic, whatever, there's a whole bunch you can choose from. Search a topic, and in the middle of that video, it can stop at key points and ask 1 or 3 different kinds of questions. It's multiple choice, text answer, and I can't remember the third one, but there's 3 kinds of questions. So Edpuzzle is good. Padlet you did today. I thought Pear Deck was not available for PowerPoint, and I was wrong because I found it. I haven't used it. I love, love, love Pear Deck, but I haven't used it in PowerPoint yet, so I'm excited to try it. And that makes your presentations and PowerPoint stop on certain slides, and you get interactivity there. It can be just dragging a little dot to show how you're feeling today. It could be text. It could be multiple choice. And within that, you can show the responses live, or you can hide them and look at them later. It's free if it's anonymous, but if you want to be able to have their names, there is a fee for it. But, maybe your district or school would pay for that. And now don't forget the power of Microsoft Forms. I love forms. You can do a quick little survey and nothing flat on the Microsoft form, just on last night's reading, do you understand the rules from this? What do you think about that? Get a social emotional check-in, great bell ringer exit ticket, great ways to use forms. And then the other thing I love is that collaborative PowerPoint where every student has a slide and you're working in one PowerPoint synchronously, and they can make a slide about them and their family. There are lots of things they can do. You can do that for curricular topics, but as a starter, that's a great beginning. Let's all make a slide in this PowerPoint where we're working together. Give them their slide numbers. You can have them sign up for a slide on a Word document that's been shared that has a table in it with their name on one side and the slide numbers on the other, or just the slide numbers, I'm sorry, and they put their name on the other side and identify their slide. So those collaborative PowerPoints would be good for that. So those would be some of my first tools. Pear Deck is a heavier lift than the others. Padlet's super easy. You have that whiteboard in Microsoft too. Don't forget that whiteboard. That's awesome. You can use that too. And then a puzzle is pretty easy to learn. Flipgrid's not hard. It doesn't take as much of a lift as Pear Deck. And then you should, hopefully you've done some forms before. If not, you can catch up on that, and then collaborative PowerPoints. Wow, take a breath for a second. Any questions for a minute? I have not used Nearpod for a couple years, but tons of people are using Nearpod. So I need to go back and look at those and see what it looks like, because I've heard a lot of you use that. And the whiteboard, I don't know in Teams where you find it. I'm going to put my email here. You email me and I'll tell you where it is. I have a couple other emails to catch up on. It's been that kind of week. If you email me, I'll tell you where to find it. Does anybody else know where it is in Teams? And I'm not sure it's in Teams. Yeah, just email me and I'll let you know. I'm not sure it's in Teams, but the whiteboard is good. You might just need to search it and see, but if you'll email me, there's my email. I will find that out for you. I have 2 other emails and about 3 certificates I have to take care of. So that's a weekend job. I'm not presenting all day long. And so this is another resource for you from Microsoft on check-ins with students. Everyone realizes that this is so important, that we're checking their well-being. And, we think we're talking social emotional in many ways, because not only are they away from their friends, but we don't know what kind of home life they have. And they're not having the opportunity to get out of that home life. So there's a lot of domestic violence that's been on the rise. So there's lots of ways we can check in, and just anything you can do, carefully to check on any aspect of how they're doing is great. And then you can address it individually if you need to. You could even have individual check-ins once in a while. And even have small group check-ins, just connect with a small group on Teams meeting once in a while, or connect with a student by themselves and just check in with them. And then there is a form here that's linked that Microsoft did for the check-in. I liked it. Okay, you can look at it. It's one you can then copy and edit, and then you can make it your own. So it's a good starter. I think it could be a little more fun. It was a little really just A, B, C, D, E, and thought, well, I could have made this a little more fun. Not that it would have been childish, but I could have made it a little more engaging, I should say. So you can use that as a template and try it if you want to. And so this is a whole page. These are all linked. Another page on social emotional learning. And then there's another one here. This is from Khan Academy. There's some good resources here. So I just gave you a plethora of them. 4 tips for teaching for teachers shifting to teaching online. This is from George Lucas Foundation and Utopia, which I love. And I think I have one more there from here in a minute. I found these best digital icebreakers. I thought you might like them. Here's the other one, getting ready to teach next year. So there's a lot of different good resources. They're really short articles, just some key points. And honestly, every time I look at them, it's like a lot of the same things. I love this Cult of Pedagogy one. It has 9 ways online teaching should be different from face-to-face. I do really like that one. So I would look at that. Just look at the highlights. It's like when you read a really academic work, sometimes you don't read every detail. You start with the titles, the subtitles, like you teach your kids to do, and then you go back in and you read for understanding and the parts that you are more interested in or want more knowledge about. And then 4 best practices for distance learning. This is from Common Sense Education. They're well respected in education. And this is students who learn and think differently. So that's something with education and equity and diverse needs that you might want to look at. And this is way cool for your kids. Give them this playlist. This is a playlist for your students on YouTube. It's a Microsoft Teams for students. Who knew it was here? I found out from that same person. No, I found it in one of the Facebook groups, in the Microsoft Facebook groups. And all kinds of really cool ones that your kids could go and look at, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let them go watch some of these, assign a couple of these. So there's several videos that address certain things. 8 tips for middle school and high school. There you go. And that was from Connections Academy. And Cobb County School District is in Georgia. It's in Atlanta. Two of the teachers there shared this with me. And this whole page is for students on teams. So look through that. Don't just go reinvent the wheel. Look at some of the things they've done there. There's some great things there that you can use that they'd be thrilled for you to use that are for students focused on Microsoft and focused on Teams. And that's a really good resource for you as well. Here's one for your parents. This is a good one from Microsoft on learning with Office 365. It gives them some information. So if you're providing parents with resource links, that's one you could consider. This is Microsoft, the Family Learning Center, and it has all these cool activities for these different age groups for families to do at home. Yes, but I looked at them and they're cool ideas for you. So as a teacher, you might want to look at some of these cool ideas because I don't think they're just for parents. I think we can use them as teachers too. And then this is a quick start guide for Microsoft Teams. If that's of help to you, you have that little quick start guide you can download. And this site is okay. It's not my favorite, but I thought, well, I'll give it to them and they'll either use it or they won't. But you guys rock. You guys totally rock. I'm going to show you these other two quick PowerPoints. I'm going to answer questions. And I will, definitely put these slides up, but I know you've got this. So just think through those little pieces I've been sharing with you. And we'll look at questions in a second. Go on and write this down for yourself or take a picture with your camera. This is where you'll get all the slides. Now, these slides for today aren't there yet. They should be tonight or tomorrow. But be sure and grab those. And my email is in the chat. If you want me or need anything for any reason or say, where are the slides? Just email. I'll go, oops, I forgot. Hopefully I won't forget. But here are the PDF files of all the slides. This is what they'll be. And so those will be there for you. And so if you'll just do that bit.ly and the Q slides, then you'll have those. And I just want to go show you really quickly. I'm going to exit out of this because I want to show you the other two resources I'm putting up here for you that I think could be of help for you. So one is called The Day in the Life of the Online Teacher. That is this one. And the other one is The Day in the Life of the Online Student. And these were from the Microsoft person. And so it takes you through all kinds of things. I love it. It's just all the different things, a lot of the things we talked about to get yourself ready, making sure that you're ready to do in Teams. Again, make sure when it says enroll your students, your districts may already be doing that for you or your school. So don't go crazy enrolling your students till you've talked to them because they may do that for you. Don't start a class notebook. Start with class notes, see what they're doing first, and always do your class notebook inside of Teams. Do Teams first, and then open the notebook there because it's a one-way street. You can't go backwards. And then just different things, meet with your students, schedule a meeting. And with that first meeting is just making sure they can get online. Just make sure they're okay, going through these norms, showing these tips for that. And then all these different things for you to be effective in your meeting. What are all the different icons? So I think what I'm going to do with this one, I think I'm going to give you the PowerPoint slides and not the PDF because she said that was fine. And that way you can steal the ones you want without feeling like you're a thief and maybe make your own presentation to use with your kids. And then you won't have to be able to, you won't have to go back and do it yourself. So this goes through the whole thing. This is for you as a teacher. Goes on and on. I'm not going to show you the whole thing because your time's about up. I don't want to keep you late, but let me show you the other one. This is the online student. And so it's the same kind of thing. There's a couple activities at the beginning that were really for like a workshop, I think, that she did. I think this was more for a work. I don't know. Maybe they just made this fun for the kids. Get your sign to, I think this was when they had like a teammate and they were having things. But now the rest are going to be things that you can think about. These are things to tell your students, things they can do. And one of them I was looking to see, I think those are pretty much like what we talked about. Stay focused. Encourage them to get out and exercise, not just to be on their computers all the time or their tablets or whatever, or their phones, but really get out and exercise. And it takes them through how to access your team, how to start your day, meeting with your teacher, all these different things. So I think these slides could be hugely helpful as you jumpstart, and I will give you both of those full PowerPoint decks. And then I will give you my PDFs that you probably don't want to use anyway, but you can use them. They'll just be PDFs. And if for any reason you need something other than that, you just let me know. But let me go on and get this up and let me stop sharing and just be here for you. So now that's it. Yeah, it's a lot. And I felt bad. It's like, this is so much. That's why I didn't go into those. I started to add those other slides. I thought that's way too much because mine's already got a lot. So I figured it was take you through what goes through my brain as I'm listening to schools and districts and I'm asking them about all these things. You know, what are the policies? What is the expectation of the students? You know, they have a policy they have to sign, you know, all these things that go through your head all the time. And so I'm just going to share my best practices and thoughts with you, and they're not complete in any way. And that doesn't mean they're the rule or the Torah or the Bible or whatever you think that, you know, the law. They're just suggestions. And everybody's different. Everywhere you go, everybody's different. So I understand that. I understand your district, your culture is completely different than anybody else's. There is no recipe for this. You know, we don't know the recipe. We're all making it up as we go. But I think the good thing is we were all just thrown into this so rapidly last spring, or whatever part of the world you are, whether the season it was. And then now we've had a break to think through it. And we're really considering it. And we really thought we'd be back face to face, but we're not. But we've been there. You know, you may be. Just be safe and make sure your kids understand how to be safe. But if you're not, you know, we'll be okay. We're more prepared now than we were then. So don't put too much pressure. Okay, any questions? Yeah, the list, I think it's going to be good for this to think it out and have a list. Yeah, all 3 sets of slides will be found on that same link. I have a whole bunch of them in there. Yes, they'll all be there. I'm glad I helped organize your thoughts. It's a lot to think about. And I know that. And honestly, I came up with this idea knowing this was the time of year. A lot of you needed to start thinking about this if you haven't already, and you probably have. And it probably should have come a couple weeks ago. And I hadn't done this presentation. So I probably spent about 6 hours making it, or 7, just because I kept adding more. And I did some last night, got today. I probably spent more than that even. I spent a lot of time making it. And I know it wasn't active. It was a lot of listening, but I don't know how to make this active. I did the Padlet, and that was the only thing I could really think of and still be able to get through the information. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll stay here a little bit if you have any questions. I'm going to mute and stop the recording. Thanks to you for coming, and I'll stay for questions. And anybody who joined us asynchronously with the recording, we're so glad that you were able to watch it.